Shall we bring out our first guest? Yeah! Why don't we? It is quite literally the greatest love story ever told. Let's remind ourselves how this beautiful story came to be.
If you made a little montage of clips, you could make us look like young lovers.
You touched my heart, you touched my soul, changed my life and all my goals.
I think she's some sort of soulmate or something.
My heart was blinded by you.
We get on really well and we both like each other.
Preston's always happy when Chantelle's around.
Aww.
I've been addicted to you.
If anything gets a bit too heavy, I can just go and do something silly with Chantelle.
You have been the one. You have been the one for me.
Oh, I think you're wicked.
Oh, I think you're wicked too.
Goodbye, my friend.
I just felt like I've known her forever.
You have been the one for me.
That's very sweet, isn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, Chantelle and Preston.
Need some love like I never needed love before. Had a little love, now I'm back for more. When two become one.
Sir, come on in. Come on, sit down. How nice to have you on the show. Preston, you look great. You've got such great style. I congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
I wish I could get away with it. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit fuller figure than you are. And Chantelle, how beautiful you look this evening.
Thank you.
Nice to have you in the show. You know, I'm a big Big Brother fan. I watch it even when I'm kind of tutting with disapproval at home. I always enjoy it. And the celebrity one last time, the one that you guys were in and you made stuff, was one of the best ever. I think I can only imagine what it's like inside the house.
We've watched very little bit back, and then just seeing that clip is like, I think you're wicked.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's hardly poetry.
Yeah, exactly.
But is it difficult watching it back? Did you not watch it deliberately because you didn't want to see what we'd all seen, or was it just something you thought, let's happen, let's move on?
Yeah, I just think we know the outcome, and
That's all we need to know.
You know, it's pointless us kind of. It's time to sort of use what we've got now and sort of enjoy that, I think.
Is it strange when people talk to you about what happened in there? Because I know, I mean, obviously, you're living it 24/7 in there. We only see edited highlights, so there must be things that you forget happened that people saw.
Oh, absolutely, and you do it. You are so unaware of being filmed, I think, when you're in there, which is something that you don't imagine that you would be. You kind of, I mean, I've seen me walking in there, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna go in there, be totally rock and roll, and then you know within sort of an hour and a half, I was sort of
you
were a sweet little boy,
yeah.
which is kind of irrepressible, unfortunately.
But it must have been even weirder for you in a way, because obviously, Preston, you know, you're in a band, you're used to being in front of an audience, you're used to performing. For you to come from not from that background, I know you've done a little bit of work, but really, I mean, what a weird ride that must have been.
Yeah, it was. You know, especially when I got out of the car and there was like loads of press and you know there and everything, and they're like all taking pictures and shouting my name, and it's like, well, this is all right, isn't it? They were like, Chantelle, Chantelle. No, I loved it.
Get used to this, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll get used to this.
But when you went in the house there, was it what you expected? Because I don't know how many people you'd heard of. You obviously hadn't heard of Preston, because let's face it, none of us had heard of him before we went in there, but... I had actually, because I saw you at Meltdown. Morrissey put you on, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But you weren't that well known, really.
No, not
But
at all.
I guess Michael Barrymore, you would have known her. Like...
Yeah, it was really weird. I only recognised like Michael, Jodie, and Faria actually, but it was weird.
Holly, that's a weird cross-section to recognise. So you didn't recognise Dennis Rodman?
No, not at all. No one else.
Although once you've met him, it's hard to forget him. Of course,
it's very hard to forget
that man.
man.
Unique-looking human being. And were you kind of like intimidated by the fact that there were famous people in there, or?
Not at all. No, not at all. It's just the only difference is, you know, is that they've been, you know, they're on the telly and they've been in the papers. It's just a familiar face. Yeah. They're just normal. It's just like meeting like yourself down the street or something.
Yeah, no, I like to think that I'm a bit more impressive than any of them. Now, when there was an obvious chemistry between the two of you when you got in there, and I think people watching outside, we were hoping that it would develop in the way it did. Okay, but you must have been conscious of the fact that something was going on, and you, at the time, you were in a relationship with someone else, so it must have been kind of pretty difficult, and presumably something you...
I just convinced myself there was nothing going on, kind of really strictly convinced myself there was no chance, and so I hadn't really... I just think I didn't really accept it.
Yeah, and you know, I just really liked Preston, but, you know, he had a girlfriend, and that was it, really. We were just friends.
Is he the sort you would normally have gone for?
I don't believe anyone. You know, some people will say that they've got a type, you know, but what is anyone's type? You know, you could be thinking, oh, I like, you know, people, there's like a bloke, you know, tall, dark and handsome, and then you meet him and he's just completely the wrong person that you like.
So you mean your normal high standards went out the window?
No, but that's not. No. But no, they're not my standards. I haven't got time.
Okay. It must have been tricky when you came out, though, because there was a feeling, I mean, once again, you're coming out in this situation where you don't quite know how you've been perceived, I guess.
Not at all.
You came out first, of course, so you knew that people had been speculating about the possibility of some kind of relationship, and you had to deal with the consequences in your existing relationship. But when you came out, we were kind of all willing it to happen, which must have been really strange.
Well, I think that's when I first sort of realised, I think, you know, for instance, proposing, that how can you ignore the fact that, you know, how can you ignore that possibility when you've already read in a paper that you've done it already?
Can I ask you, how did you propose? Did you have a specific thing you wanted to say, or did
well, my mum had the ring that she had when she was married to my dad, and so I got my mum to send it over, and I was kind of thinking, well, at least I'll have it to kind of at one point to propose in the future. And then the mood kind of became very romantic one evening, and I was just like...
So what was happening? You were having sex? Something like
Chantelle's mother's in the audience.
Is she?
Yeah.
The three of you? Jesus, that's sick. I apologise, Mum. Now, you're engaged to be married, this is correct, isn't it? Do you have a date in mind, or is it not something...
We're trying to get a venue we want and stuff, so it's kind of like... We've got venues in mind, but they sort of don't necessarily do weddings, but we're just going to say, well, we're off telly and see if they...
We're off telly, OK. Are you going to go for something like Peter and Jordan's wedding, or are you going to have something a bit more subtle like Liza Minnelli had?
I think we want something quite sort of... a bit sort of 1930s and like quite stylish, like almost over-styled, kind of classy.
Great Gatsby.
Yeah, exactly, and like... Well, I don't know. I feel like I'm bullying her into having the wedding that she doesn't want, so I'm trying to step back a little bit.
Yeah. Well, OK, Chantelle, what wedding would you like? If Preston had nothing to do with it, which really, if he was a real man, he wouldn't.
This is true.
Well, we've looked at Arundel Castle, and I'd love to get married in a castle.
Now, that's in Scotland, isn't it? Is that where Madonna got married?
Arundel, in just outside
Sussex.
Brighton.
Yeah, which is near Scotland. That's what I meant.
I'd love it. You know, like horse and cart with...
We're not having a horse and cart,
No, I'd love that.
We're not having a
horse and carriage, maybe. Horse and cart would be like Steptoe and Son coming. Preston! Oh, I love you, Preston.
Horse and carriage.
Horse and carriage.
Yeah,
Horse
I'd
and
love
cart would be
that.
quite sweet in a way, though.
I said the animals we can have, I said we're allowed peacocks. We can have some peacocks sort of randomly roaming around.
Now listen, peacocks are really noisy.
Are they?
They're really horrible, noisy
We'll pay to have them muted somehow, some sort of vocal cords ripped out.
What about the antlers?
Yeah, what's this about antlers?
Well, he reckons he's going to wear antlers, right? But any interview, no one's allowed to ask him about them.
Well,
like, don't talk about the antlers.
What's wrong? What do you want to wear antlers for?
I don't talk about the antlers.
What do you... I'm afraid that's not good enough, young man.
Allow me my decadences. It's
Antlers, what? You mean during the ceremony itself?
for the
For the
whole
whole
ceremony,
thing?
possibly the honeymoon as well. On the beach, little swimming costume, some antlers.
You look like Peter Stringfellow or someone. It's like some proper big ones.
Oh yeah.
So you want a sort of staggish effect? You want to look like a rampant young male?
Well, I hadn't really thought much. There wasn't much kind of deep meaning in the whole thing. I just
But
kind
it's
of.
not happening now anyway, is it?
I don't know. I quite like the idea of paying Will Young to walk around Hoxton in antlers the week later, and kind of Katie Mellower and just some celebrities to walk around Hoxton in antlers and see
I
if
think
I
you've
can
got
let
too
it
much
catch
spare
on.
time on your hand right
Yeah,
now. You're sitting around speculating. You
Help
just
me
want
out here.
get a nice dress, get a horse and cart, boom, you'll do it. That's all you need. You're writing your autobiography, is this right,
I am,
Chantelle?
yes.
Now, how old are you, Chantelle?
I'm 23 this year.
Okay, can I just say, with respect, don't be so daft. How can you be... Preston, she's 23. What are you thinking about? Right, just give yourself another year. At least get to 25, maybe.
No, but a lot's happened in my life.
Yes, I
I've got a lot
understand this.
to write about, and I just want people to know like what I come from and how different my life is today. And I did work to get where I am. I weren't just lucky enough to get on Big Brother. And
I think it's like a 21st century fairy tale, isn't it? And so in that way, it's children will love to read it, and I'm 100% behind the book.
Well, look, I will certainly
I'm
browse
living the
through
dream.
it. Well, you're living the dream, which is sort of your catchphrase. Because I read Jade Goody's book, and that's a really good read. I'm only making the comparison because she's someone who is also quite young to write the book and has been through a similar experience. But, and it was actually surprising because she had led a very different life to the one that most people endure. But are you actually going to write yours yourself, or is it going to be one of these ghosty books? Because I believe Wayne Rooney, thankfully for all of us, isn't writing his own. Okay, I think he's doing some of the bigger pictures, but I think it's being ghosted for him.
well, a bit of both really, but I do want to have a lot of input in the book.
So you'll sit down
myself.
and you'll basically spiel it and all that?
Yes.
Okay. You always wanted to be famous, is that right?
Well, I never actually said I want to be famous, but I knew that I wanted something more. I'd had millions of jobs, like office jobs. I used to get them and leave them all the time, and I just knew I wanted more. And yeah, this is what I wanted.
Okay, so this is you living the dream. But is it what you wanted in specific terms? I mean, had you was there?
Yeah, completely. Like when I got out of the car, that Big Brother night, and they was all calling my name. I was like, I felt like I'd come home, in a way. So.
You wouldn't want that every night when you came home, of course.
Well, no, I don't know. I wouldn't mind.
But once
I do
again,
my best.
Are you as comfortable with it as Chantelle appears to be?
I understand the kind of fickle nature of it all. So I think
Oh,
I know that I can, I can just move to an island for 2 months, come back, and no one will know who I am. But it's kind of people are really nice to us, and
Yeah,
it's
they
kind
are,
of
always
even if they haven't got anything to say, people just kind of go, Preston, boys will be boys, yeah.
Well,
That's my song I done.
Was that Noel or was it John Bon Jovi who shouted out? Oh, hold on. Don't wake the beast. The rock beast. Now, it's kind of a weird diversion in your career because I'd heard of the Ordinary Boys. I know I'd played your record a few times on my radio show. You had, but I liked it, and you had Morrissey's backing, so you were going. And then to step out of that and go into Big Brother was obviously, to some people, seemed a surprising move.
Well, I was just up for doing something completely ridiculous in my life, and I didn't really know what that was going to be. And then I had a phone call saying, "Would you like to go on Big Brother?" And I just thought, well, that would be totally ridiculous, wouldn't it? So I just thought, well, it's all kind of brilliant.
Because the band members, the other guys, were initially against you going in, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely against it. Yeah, they were saying like, "I'm going to be here when you come out, and I'm going to say I told you so." And when I came out, I remember William was just like, "I'm sorry, I love you."
All right, let's have a look at your new single because Preston is working with not only the band but also Lady Sovereign, who I'd seen photographs of. I hadn't heard her, and she seems pretty good.
She's so much fun.
Yeah.
I think you'd love her.
Okay, this is called, and this is already in the charts, isn't it?
Number 6.
Okay, wow. Well, you don't need any help from me, but have a look. This is Ordinary Boys with Lady Sovereign.
Oh my gosh, my days are getting longer and there's no turning back. I'm working a 9 to 5 just to keep my contract. Did I say 9? I meant 1:30. I ain't no early birdie. I'm working a 9 to 5. Oh my gosh, my days are getting longer and there's no turning back. I'm working a 9 to 5 just to keep my contract. Did I say 9? I meant 1:30. I ain't no early birdie. I'm working a 9 to 5.
That's good, isn't it? That's good. That's good. It's good, but it's no, I want it all. I want it right now. I like that. You should release that with the Candy Floss. What happened with that?
Well, I can't sing, can I?
That's not, nor can he really. Just shouts, doesn't he? Did you believe, when she was in the house, did you see that bit when they made Chantelle pretend to be a singer? That was the kind of the kind of subterfuge they put you in under. Did you believe that she was a
Not
singer?
for a second.
Yes, you did.
I did not. You know I
did.
didn't.
You did. You sort of did.
I did not for a second. I'm up on my pop music. you
Okay,
see.
let's have a look then. Okay, I want to see the clip because I think you did believe it. Okay, have you seen this clip?
No, I haven't seen
Okay,
anything.
this is the clip.
Oh, no.
You're looking forward to this, aren't you? This is Chantelle singing. No, I think you carry it off really well. This is Chantelle pretending to be in Candy Floss when she was in the Big Brother house, and Preston,
The
despite
Candy-
what he says, completely suckered into believing it. Look at this.
I want it all. I want it right now. I'm gonna get what I deserve, and much more somehow. I'm gonna lick the plate clean, much more somehow. I'll take the blame. I'll take the fame and fortune. You wanna kiss my heart, I swear. I'm gonna steal the lion's share. You're a pretender. I want nothing left to remember. Oh, feel sorry for. I want it all.
So that was I think you were suckered in.
She sings a lot better than most kind of sort of put
Modern
together
singers,
modern.
Jodie's face, though, it's like...
But the thing is, the
It's kind of
vocals...
hard, but that's just the rigor mortis from the makeup, isn't it? It's like, once the old Cooper and all dries, you can't really move it much, can you?
But the vocals were so loud, you couldn't hear what she was singing when we were actually in that room. All you could hear was the backing track. So
Yeah.
it didn't seem...
I didn't sound that bad then, did I?
It didn't
It
sound that
was
bad.
the
no.
magic of television to make it look kind of more ridiculous than it was, I think.
Well, you know what? You've both done something which I think so many of us who've watched it have wondered and speculated as to what it would actually be like to be in there. And I know everyone comes out and says, you know, it's at times very boring and it's just weird, but it is quite something to know what it's like to be on the inside. And that must be, even that alone, if you just got that out of it, it would have been...
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think that is the kind of bonding thing about it. Is it's the same as kind of people who go through massive sort of trauma together and tragedy. It is the same thing. It's just like something so extreme and so intense that you just it brings you together through the fact that you can only share that experience with one person.
Or with the other people in there with you, I guess.
Yeah. So you know, and George is kind of a bit old for me.
Yeah.
I think.
If Chantelle had said no, would you have considered Pete?
He was taken, wasn't he, at the time?
Was he?
Yeah, apparently.
I don't think he really lets that stand in the way too much.
No,
are you going to invite them all to the wedding? Are they all going to come along, or just
No,
a
I
select,
don't want to
hand-picked bunch?
To be honest,
I think Pete should come.
Uh-oh, here we go.
We'll talk about this later, darling.
All
Okay.
right.
Who actually is kind of...
I
You see, I think that... That's not a bad way to spend the day, is it?
I kind of want to have as few sort of celebrities, in inverted commas.
Okay, say they said if you invite all the cast of Last of a Summer Wine and Noel Edmonds.
If Noel's there, it's happening.
And the ring, you have to do a deal as to which box has the ring in it.
We're such massive Deal or No Deal
Well,
fans.
you are. It's
Well,
4 o'clock deal or no deal. It's like, what you
4:15,
know?
darling.
Oh, so you don't-
4:15.
So, Chantelle, like the rest of us young people, you're not down with Noel?
I am down with Noel. Yeah, I am down with you.
Don't worry,
he's
Chantelle,
Dana.
don't worry, he's not that big in real life. Okay? But you like the show, you do watch it.
I have to watch it.
I like
watch
to
it.
do when the phone rings, and obviously you can't hear the guy's voice. So when you pick up, I like doing the blubby blubby blubby.
Hello? Parky, I've told you, when you're drinking, don't call. Hey, lovely to meet you both. I hope it pans out for you in the way that you would both like.
Thank
and
you.
It's been a pleasure to meet you. I so enjoyed seeing you in the house. So nice to meet you outside. Preston, keep going with the band. I love what you're doing. Chantelle, I think you're a charming and lovely young woman. I wish you every success. Ladies and gentlemen, Preston and Chantelle. Thank you so much. You can now go and relax. Nice to meet you. Good work, Preston. Thank you. I'm pleased you came. Well, a nice young couple, eh? Let's bring